Hello students, now we will move ahead with the chapter that is diversity in living world. So we were talking about classification. We have discussed that classification is very important as far as living world is concerned, and classification is very important part of taxonomy, which include identification, nomenclature and classification itself, and other branches of bio also dependent on this science of classification. That is very important to organize the organism into certain groups and subgroups, that we know. Now, what is the basis of classification? How do we classify living organism into different groups and subgroups? So the answer is very obvious and very simple, that is the characteristics. On the basis of certain characteristics, we do the classification. For example, if you come to school and I told you that you go to different classes and you have been classified into different classes, because on what basis we have done that? We have done that on the basis of some characteristics. So you have been provided you have been assigned different classes because of the characteristics. On the basis of characteristics, like characteristics can be IQ, you have got a certain IQ level, age group. So this is the characteristic. On the basis of characteristics, we have classified you into different groups, that is different classes. And what are the characteristics basically in the living world on the basis of which we classify the living organism? Characteristic can be any form or the function. So F square, any form and function is called characteristic of the living organism. It can be like how the wings look like, or what are the functions of the wings. So that is called form and function. Characters can be form or any function. Okay, so what we have learned is classification is based on characteristics, and characteristic of the living organism can be any form, physical form or any function. Now there are different types of classification which are famous nowadays. That is, first one is artificial system of classification. This one is a primitive system of classification, old type of classification, and it was based on the morphological character. Morphological character means the outward character. Just by seeing the outward characters, the scientists classify the organism into different groups and subgroups. Aristotle, who is considered to be the father of biology, classified animals on the basis of their habitat. He just saw one of the morphological character, that is habitat, outward character, that is land, water and air, and he classified animals on the basis of their habitat. And another scientist, that he was a botanist, Theophrastus, he classified plants. He is father of botany basically, and Aristotle is father of biology plus father of zoology. Okay, so Theophrastus was the father of botany, and he classified plants on the basis of their height. Again, he took one of the morphological character, means inner characters were not taken into consideration, only the outer characters. Morphology is related to outer character. So here they are just focusing on the outer characters, and they are classifying the organism on the basis of one characteristic only. For example, Aristotle classified animals on the basis of one morphological character, that is their home, habitat, and Theophrastus also classified plants on the basis of one morphological character, that is height. But this is not the right way of classifying animals or the plants, because we are focusing only on one character, that is morphological character. Okay, so it can be wrong. So what are the disadvantages or the drawback of this kind of artificial system of classification? It is called artificial system of classification, where the scientists, they consider only one characteristic, that is morphological, outward characteristic of the living organism, and they just classify them into different groups. But this is not correct, because it was having some drawbacks, like different organisms were grouped together and same type of organism were grouped in different groups. So this was the negative thing which happened because of this. Because why this happened? Because they were considering only one characteristics. When we are classifying you in different classes, we are not considering only one characteristic. For example, on the basis of height, the children are classified into different classes. No, it's not there. It's not like that, because it will be very difficult for like on the basis of height if it is done, or on the basis of only one morphological character if it is done. We see the IQ level, we see your previous knowledge also, we see your age group also, and then we classify you accordingly. But here what scientists Aristotle and Theophrastus did, they just classified organism on the basis of one morphological characteristics, and that was having some drawbacks. Okay. Another system of classification is natural system of classification. In this system, a large number of characters are used to find the relationship of organism. Now the scientists knew that artificial system of classification is of no use, because there only one morphological character is being considered, and which is bringing about some of the major issues later on. Okay, so some of the scientists, they followed natural system of classification, in which they started to consider large number of characteristics, because classification ka basis is characteristics, and in natural system they were taking large number of characteristics into relationship, and then they were assigning them different groups and subgroups. Characters, now they were very particular about characters which whatever they are taking, they should be related to morphology, outward height, color, etc. That is morphology. Anatomy means internally, like what how the cell what are the different forms and functions of the internal structures of that particular organism. So anatomy means internal structures, morphology means outer structures, and cytology means then they were going very deep to the cellular level also. They wanted to see what kind of characteristics the cell is having of particular organism. So they were very particular this time in natural system of classification. So in natural system of classification, scientists, they started taking large number of characteristics into consideration, and they took some morphological characters, outward characters, anatomical character, internal structures into consideration, not only the outer structures, not only internal and outer, they were going very deep, and they were studying the cell of the organism, and then they were classifying them into different groups and subgroups, and it produced a hierarchy of classification. Proper classification was done. This is called hierarchy of the classification, and it was given by Linus, Carolus Linus, who is also considered to be the father of taxonomy. Here you have got 7 categories: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It means, for example, if we have got only one plant and now we want to classify it. Now this is the new plant we have discovered, and now what will be done when it is discovered? If it is discovered, it means now we will identify it. Then after identification, what is done? After identification, nomenclature, then we give the name to it, and then what is done after naming? Then we classify it. This is classification. We have to assign it kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species to this particular plant or animal, whatever we have discovered. Okay, so first of all, we discover or explore any of the species of plant and animal, then we identify it, we give it name, we classify it into 7 categories. We classify it into 7 categories, and this is the science of taxonomy. Taxonomy is Inc., that is identification, nomenclature, and classification. And classification is done into 7 categories. What are the 7 categories? That is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. As you go down in this hierarchy of classification, this is called hierarchy of classification. It was also done given by Carolus Linus. As you go down in this hierarchy of classification, the similarity between organism will be more, because What is species? Group of the organism which are closely interrelated. So as we go down, the similarity of the organism will increase, and as we go up, this similarity will increase. Okay, so here if it is kingdom, so for example there are 5 kingdoms. In the living world there are 5 kingdoms. So all the kingdoms, 5 kingdoms, this is one group, second group, third group, fourth group, 5 kingdoms are there in all. So here there will be dissimilarity, more of dissimilarity among the organisms. But when we go down in the species is a group of similar kind of organisms which can interbreed and produce a fertile offspring. Okay, which can show the reproduction also among themselves, which can show the interbreeding among themselves, and they can produce the fertile offspring of their own. So this is the 7 categories of classification. How to learn? Kingdom, then phylum, then you can learn from here cough, COF, cough, genus, species. Kingdom, phylum, cough, genus, species. This is a mnemonic for this. You can learn it like this: kingdom, phylum, KP, then cough and GS. Okay, so this is how you have to learn. Kingdom is the biggest category and species is the smallest category. Where will be more of similarity among the organism? Obviously species, because as we go down in the hierarchy of classification, the similarities of characteristic increases. As we go up in the hierarchy of classification, there is more of dissimilarity among the organism. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of classification given by Carolus Linnaeus. Now, for example, I told you that there is species and genus. You have to remember this. This is a species. This is the binomial nomenclature, scientific name given. Okay, this is the generic name. First one is generic name, and second one is a specific name. Specific name shows the species, and generic name shows the genus. Okay, what is a species? Group of same individual. What is genus? Group of species is called genus. Group of species is called genus. For example, if you see here, what is a species? It is group of same kind of individual, and when species combine together, species plus species, then we get the genus. Okay, and when a group of genus forms the family, and a group of family forms the order, and in this way we move in the higher category. Okay, now one more thing to remember is phylum in case of animal. If animals are there, then we say phylum, and if plants are there, then we say division. In case of plants, we say division. We don't use the term phylum for plants. Okay, so thank you very much. Keep revising.